How's it going, followers? And yes, it's not a Minecraft video or a podcast episode. That's right, it's me, Levi, or Thrash Maniac 99, whatever you want to call me, and here to tell you that starting from this moment on, some of the members of the Shadow Kvlt are going to be on here every week to do an album review, talking about a particular album that we really enjoyed or want to critique, and give us our opinions and let you guys decide for yourselves if you think it's good or not. And we're doing this all throughout the rest of the year of 2021. Every week someone different's going to come on here to do a review, and it's going to be fun. It's definitely going to help things out going forward to diversify content on the Shadow Kvlt channel going forward. And what an episode and album I got in store for you guys. The first review I'm doing on the Shadow Kvlt channel is going to be about the brand new release from modern British thrash titans, Evile, and it's called Hell Unleashed. So Evile is a thrash metal band that formed back in 2004, so this was at the very beginning of the thrash revival that's still going strong to this very day. Evile, along with bands like Warbringer, Havoc, Toxic Holocaust, have been going strong and helping to keep thrash metal alive for the modern generation, while at the same time the classic bands are going strong in their own rights. But Evile in particular was one of, if not the first one, to really break out and break through with their debut album Enter the Grave on Rake Records, and they were on Rake for a while. Then their last album, Skull, came out in 2013, and then we hadn't heard about any new music from Evile since, at least until end of 2020, early 2021, when it was announced that the band would be releasing their long-awaited sixth studio album titled Hell Unleashed. Or it might be the fifth album, actually. Yeah, it is their fifth album, what am I saying? It's their fifth studio effort, Hell Unleashed, that's finally out. It came out this past Friday on Napalm Records. And also, this is a good time to let you guys know how the rating system is going to go. So we're grading in these albums off of 5 categories: music, lyrics, production, cover art, and album flow. And in the end, we'll give you a insert number here out of 5 pentagrams. So we're going to give it a pentagram rating system out of 5 to determine our final score. But without further ado, let's get started with the music. So the music on this album, the majority of this album, is very fast, brutal, and aggressive. And I love that about this album. The first 4 songs, Paralyzed, Gore, Incarcerated, and War of Attrition, start this album off with a gigantic kaboom! Paralyzed has this Slayer and Testament flavor to it, especially with the breakdown that comes in halfway through this song. Gore was my personal favorite song of the album, as it had a catchy start before it just goes balls to the wall, punch you in the face thrash. And while comedian Brian Posehn has a credit on this song, you can't really hear him apart from perhaps he's in the gang vocal parts in the chorus. But regardless, this is one of, if not the most memorable song of the album. Memorable chorus and a memorable guitar solo and memorable lyrics, but I'll talk more about that when we get to the lyrics section. Incarcerated starts off with this sinister intro that reminds me of bands like Slayer, but also Alice in Chains a little bit. It has an evil, sinister, conjuring start, and then it gets into like a Dead Skin Mask inspired part with like the spoken word, and then it gets intense and fast, and the song just rips throughout. And it's the longest song of the album, a little over 6 minutes long, and it even ends with a Don't Tread on Me by Metallica style breakdown that I really appreciated. So their Slayer Metallica influences have not left the band, which is great. Then War of Attrition continues the fast flow of the album beautifully, and it's quite an anthemic song as well. Excuse my words. Disorder, which is the 5th song of the album, the middle song, And it helps slow things down a little bit, as it has more of an overkill or a D-beat oriented style. And this song has a similar feeling to a song like Rise Up by Testament, and how it would fit better in a live ambience with the crowd singing along to the chorus. But regardless, it does help to keep things diverse going forward with the album. And again, a nice change in pace after the insanity of the first 4 songs. And then we get to the second half of the album, starting with The Thing 1982, which is the fastest song of the album, and it's an amazing song at that, with lyrics written inspired by the movie the song was named after. Even some death metal and black metal influences can be heard as well. Death metal as far as the intensity, and black metal and the almost hypnotic blast beat oriented drums that this song has. And I love this song for those reasons. Then we get a cover of Mortician's Zombie Apocalypse. And it's a very unique cover in the sense that it's a thrash metal band covering a death metal song. It's a great cover, no doubt, even though it is really, really weird to hear this song in a clean production, whereas Mortician is quite dirty sounding. But regardless, a great cover song from Evile to one of the best New York death metal bands out there. Control from Above does something a little different compared to the rest of the songs of the album, whereas most of the songs is thrashy throughout, but with groovy transitions. Here, it's groovy throughout with fast thrashy transitions. And it also has the most melodic guitar solo heard on the album. It's sinister, yet it's beautiful. And I think this was the best solo on the entire album. And then we get to the finale, the title track, which was also the first single released. And like I said, it wound up being the album closer. And it's a catchy and fun song to end this monster of an album. So overall, guitar work was insane. The drum work was pounding. The bass work was great. Now, the one thing I feel people are going to complain about the most with this album is old Rake's vocals. Since his older brother, former vocalist, and rhythm guitarist Matt Drake left the band early last year due to illness, Old decided to step up to the plate to do the vocals. While he's not as good as his brother Matt, Old's vocals are good for what they are, and they're quite better. They have better enunciation, like you can actually understand what Old is saying throughout much of the songs on this album. So, like I said, while he's not as good as Matt, Old's vocals do deliver in what they're supposed to do. Now, if this move is permanent, maybe on the next album he'll be better. If not, and Matt comes back, we'll see. Now, in the past, Evile's most prominent influences were Slayer and Metallica. Here on Hell Unleashed, there's more Sodom, Possessed, Testament, and early Sepultura influences coming in. And it also, like I said, has a death metal intensity plastered on top to give this album more aggression. Now to the lyrics. The lyrics on this album represents different themes of hell and gore and war, horror, mind control, and disease. The title track is the song that gives out the more sinister conjurations. Paralyzed Gore and The Thing has the more gory and horror and disease-based stories to tell. Gore is especially brutal in its lyrics about the lust for murder and ripping flesh. Incarcerated, War of Attrition, Disorder, and Control from Above deal with those more war and mind control embellishments. So overall, the lyrical content has some diversity to it to help make this album stand out. Production. I love the production on this album. Some people may find it too clean, and while to each their own, I love the slick, clean sound of this album. Chris Clancy, who came out of the school of Colin Richardson, helped make every instrument and vocal pattern stand out on their own, while the one complaint goes back to what I said earlier about Brian Posehn's part in Gore. Overall, everything is audible, tight, and well-rounded. Now, the cover art is really nothing too special for me. It's just an evil Reaper figure in a red hood. The cover is lackluster compared to the amazing cover art that they've had on previous releases. Now, if I was in charge of putting together the album cover, I would have done a cover that showcased the depths of hell breaking apart and demons rising from the grave to take over Earth, to give this album a truly sinister visual to stare at when listening to the music. And now finally, the album flow. All the songs on this album flow together in a nice, neat little bow perfectly. There are no start-stops in between songs, although I do wish the songs had more connection to one another to give it a sense of concept and fluidity, but it didn't necessarily need that, though. So overall, after reviewing this album under the 5 categories given in this new rating system provided for the reviews going forward, I'm going to take the liberty and give Evile's Hell Unleashed the first 5 out of 5 pentagrams. Buy this album. I am telling you, buy this album. You will not regret it. It's an amazing comeback for the band that helped reinvigorate thrash metal in the mid-2000s. As amazing as this album is, I look forward to seeing what happens next. Will Matt Drake be back? Will Ole's vocals improve? Will they get even faster and more aggressive? Only time will tell. So what do you guys think about Evile's Hell Unleashed? Let us know in the comment section below. And what do you guys think of this rating system we're doing going forward? I like it. I think it's pretty unique. Now, as far as what will be the next review, it might be for the new Artillery album, X, possibly. We'll just have to wait and see. But until next time, horns high, and I will see you very soon.